Hello, this video is for the real Virginia Wind in answer to his question as to how to plant the Three Sisters garden. I tried that this year and I would have to say it was a success, but it was really kind of an interesting experience because I had thought, like the real Virginia Wind, that you would plant the corn in rows and then plant the beans alongside the rows and they would grow up the stalks. But when I decided to do the garden, I had no idea what to do. So I actually went online to the Southern Exposure website and I got a Three Sisters kit. The kit included three different plants. It was the corn and Seminole pumpkin and Kentucky wonder bean. Um, and apparently they're all very well suited for each other because the corns have very large stalks and the beans have don't seem to have that big a leaf, so they don't smother the plants too much. And I haven't yet to see what the Seminole pumpkin does. I mean, it's growing, but it's not it's not as big as I thought it would be either. But I'll have to see if it really does produce 10 Seminole pumpkins per plant. I hope not, because that's way too much for what I need. But it'd be fun and interesting to see if that did happen. So one of the first things I wanted to mention to the real Virginia Wind is that when I planted it and when I got the kit, it came with a set of instructions on how to plant it. Apparently, the Indians planted in circles or sort of like a mandala. And mandalas is one of my favorite topics, so I was like thrilled. I couldn't believe I was going to be creating a three-dimensional mandala with corn, beans, and squash, but that's what it turned out to be. So I got this particular guide here, and I'm going to put it up to the video, and you can see that it has a circular planting plot, and in it it shows you to grow where to grow the corn with a C and where to grow um, the beans alongside them, and the squash is actually interspersed between them. It's it was complicated. It was completely complicated, but it was a good experience. Um, Particularly because it suited my interest in mandalas. I don't know that other people would be as interested in it as I am, but I really liked it. So um, I went out and I planted the corns first because apparently the corn has to be planted way before the beans and the squash. The corn is planted in a manner that is spaced like almost like a star, and then and it even tells you on this particular diagram where to face north and where to face south. So I mean, the Indians were geniuses, if you ask me. They were absolute geniuses. How they could even figure out that these three companion plants that without knowing anything about chemistry and knowing that the beans put the nitrogen in the soil, and they did this all through observation. They were just geniuses, and and then where to how to face the plot so that it gets the best lighting. I mean, that's just an amazing thing to me. But the corn is planted first, and then the beans are planted after I think it's after the corn is 4 inches tall. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's 4 inches tall. Then you plant the beans, and the beans are planted in another mini um, mandala or mosaic, however you want to call it, and it in a particular design, like a square, but in a circular area. So if you can see this area, this little plot here, it shows you the C is for the where the corn was planted in one circular area, and then the beans are planted in the corners. So for every four stalks of corn growing in one circle, you're going to grow four bean stalks in that circle. And but you have to wait until the corn is 4 inches tall. And then If that's not complicated enough, um, you have to wait some more, I guess, and you have to wait for the beans to sprout. And then once they've sprouted and they've climbed a bit, then you plant the um, the squash. And the squash is also planted in based on location in the garden. As you can see, this was complicated, and I'm not a stupid person, but it was complicated. And um, so anyway, I'm going to show you the results of this, and I would completely recommend that if you want to grow a Three Sisters garden, that you buy the kit from the Southern Exposure website. Not only are you going to get heirloom seeds that you can use and harvest and use again next year, but you're also going to get these wonderful instructions. And I just briefly covered them. There's a lot more to it. And you'll be able to do it exactly the way the Indians did it and get really good results. Here's the Three Sisters garden, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this that well because I've never done a garden video before like this, but here's the corn, and the Kentucky Wonder beans are crawling up the stalk like this. The little beans coming out right here, and the corn coming out right there. I'm going to try and shift this a little bit here so you can see the squash here in the bottom growing. And yeah, I don't weed very much. And if you can look, I'm going to walk in a circle and see if you can see how it's designed with the stalks. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 circles of corn, and there's a main corn stalk in the middle that acts like the central node of, with the spokes around a wheel, as you can see, with the squash planted in between on the bottom. That's it. That's my Three Sisters garden. I get to see any pumpkins coming out, but those should come out later in the fall.